Today on the podcast, we have the best two-wheel female athlete to ever do it. That's right, I'm saying that. Why am I saying that? Because her resume is out of this world. She has multiple Crankworxs victories. She was the first female to ever do a front flip on a mountain bike. She crushed it in the BMX world. You guys know who she is. Caroline Buchanan. I can't wait for this one. The queen of Crankworxs. She's downstairs. She just defended her title. What a badass. She's doing big things in the world. Super fired up to have her on the podcast. And the fact that she's on today after a crazy schedule this weekend, I'm fired up. And I see her rolling through, looking strong, looking not hungover. What's up, Caroline? Thank you for coming on.
It's incredible.
How you doing?
Of course, you're the highest on the hill.
I know.
Such a good spot.
How you doing?
Good. Where do you want me? Over here.
Is it toast? Yeah. Over there.
What do we got? Headphones? Just mic?
Just mic, because I'm a one-person operation. I got to make sure I got the levels all correct. Want to get close to that mic?
This is legit.
Oh, yeah.
Let me get in here.
Oh, you sound good. Yeah, awesome. What's up, Caroline? Congrats on defending your title. How are you feeling?
Oh, wow. I think it's just a massive relief. My body and mind and emotions, it was like cool. I kind of took the foot off the pedal early, which I didn't completely expect. Like last year, it came down to the final event for the Queen of Crankworxs title, speed and style, whereas this year I had 2 events still to go, and they gave me that little bit of a quick insight into like that I'd already wrapped it up, and yeah, I was able to just take a step back and be like, hell yeah, I can enjoy Crankworxs.
Was that one of your goals for this year, to like come in and defend your title? Yeah,
definitely. So last year I wasn't too sure if I wanted to do the Queen of Crankworxs title. I was really focusing on like the FMB World Tour. So that was really like my main focus. And then I got to the end of the season and I had 1 round to go and I was in the title hunt. So all of a sudden last year it was like, you've been doing Crankworxs for probably 10 years and I'd never even been close to being in contention. And it just, yeah, it came into the picture. I was like, hang on, I can get uncomfortable. I can do downhill and like maybe we got a crack. So once I got that belief from last year's season, I was like, let's do it all over again this year.
Let's do it. I mean, you are very well rounded in the two-wheel sports. Like, your background's BMX. You crushed that for so many years. Like, what brought you into the mountain bike scene? Like, what was that transition about? Like, were you even aware of what was going on in the mountain bike scene when you were on a BMX?
I've always been pretty like ADHD when it comes to like riding bikes. Like I'm always like easily distracted by other disciplines, other opportunities. So even when I was doing BMX, I always saw the mountain bike world. I always saw these 4-cross and just like anything at the time. So yeah, I was always really heavily intrigued into like really the depths of mountain biking. My bread and butter was BMX. So to go to Olympic Games, that was really what kept me on track and built my brand and that whole career establishment as being a female in this world. But the mountain biking was always that reset. It was just that opportunity for me to, in between every Olympic Games cycle, I'd jump back on the mountain bike and it would just be this like breath of fresh air with the community. And I'm so glad that I've wound up here, like finally in my career with the opportunity to go for a title like Queen of Crankworxs. I think it takes an athlete like myself that does have the diverse background of all these different disciplines, because it's a unique, I really think it's like the hardest title in mountain biking to win. You've got to,
I agree.
You've got to be fit for like 9 days of events and racing. And then you've got to be able to like obviously do downhill, air downhill. So you've got to have that sprint capability. You've got speed and style. So you've got the freestyle. You've then got pump track. It's like, yeah, super diverse.
How do you find like enough time in the day to like be good in all those disciplines? Because it's like,
yeah, it's a challenge.
You're on the downhill bike, you're on the dirt jump bike, you're on the slope, you're dabbling in the BMX world. Like that's a lot of different disciplines to tackle.
Yeah, it's quite a logistical thing, I think, to win the overall title. You've got 4 bikes as well when you're traveling on the road. So it's like 130 kilos of baggage, and
No
you're your
way.
own mechanic, you're meal prepping, you're not just doing the racing. You come to a week like Crankworxs and it's
Yeah.
like you're doing podcasts, you're hanging out, you're partying, you got film premieres, like
So
sponsors
much.
want you to do signings, and yeah, it's literally like 8 in the
It's
morning till 9
it's
o'clock at
overwhelming.
night.
It's
Yeah.
like Vegas in the mountains, but for mountain biking.
Yeah, it eats you
It's
up and spits you out.
it crushes you. I haven't had one sip of booze all week, and like my voice is shot because I've been chatting like all week, and I'm like, I'm not drunk. I don't sound like this usually, but there's
Crankworxs,
Crankworks will do that.
it
I've
eats
been
you
I've been
up.
staying up late though.
It is.
Um, I mean, you've been doing this for so long. How do you still find the motivation, drive to continue on? Because like you crushed it. Like you won everything you can
Thanks,
in
Paul.
two wheels. Seriously, I was thinking
Yeah.
about this today. I'm like, what's next
Maybe
for
everything except an Olympic title. My best result at Olympics was a fifth,
fifth?
and then yeah, literally choked. It was insane. Like had that final moment of David Beckham staring back at me and the royal family, and you're in that start gate, and it's like Olympics is a whole nother level of pressure. And yeah, I mean, I'm just so proud of my career. Like I'm glad I achieved that, and we're here today.
I was bummed that you didn't make it in the last Olympics because I know that was a big goal of yours. But I think it played out so well that it did not, because what you did after that was crazy. Like
It lit
then
a
you're like,
fire.
yeah, you're like, you know what? Okay, BMX, that was cool. I did a lot. Maybe I didn't get that Olympic gold medal. Maybe I didn't, get on that box. But like what you did after that, I think is just as much rewarding if you would have won Olympic gold
Definitely.
medal,
Yeah,
because
it's
you just started
challenge.
stacking.
Yeah, it's so. I think for anyone watching, you just have the opportunity to reinvent yourself over and over in life. No matter what life throws at you, you really can re-steer the ship. You can reinvent your brand, your career, your identity, whatever it is. And so, yeah, for me, it was when I didn't obviously make the Olympic Games for Tokyo for that third time. I looked at the opportunity in freeride, and there was this gap, and it was really like I could see that the future was like there was going to be an opportunity for women's freeride. There was going to be slope style, but there wasn't a lot of girls that were ready, hungry right now to step into Audi 9s, to start laying down worlds first, to jump on the FMB World Tour and already have sponsors, already have a presence, already like have that identity set and ready. And I just had this like feeling within myself that I was like, I think this is my calling. I think I really need to be seen and step forward for the girls. And
Yeah.
now the ones like Patricia are really starting to step through, but it feels so valuable knowing that, the last 2 years, it's that time and place and
Right.
help make that shift for the women.
You said world's first. Let's talk about the front flip,
Yeah.
because let's talk about that journey, because it wasn't an easy journey. How long did it take you to learn the front flip? And like, and what do you mean thought like it was like like what drew you to like say, you know what, I can do this? Like, were you like kind of already practicing in the foam pit? I mean, were you watching like the guys doing it? Like, I mean, going like I know you were doing backflips, but going like backflips on bikes are easy.
Mm-hmm.
But doing a front flip on a mountain bike is not easy. There's so much like that goes into it. You have to hit the rear brake on the lip. You have to get that proper snap. Like there's a lot of
The
moving
timing.
parts
Yeah.
on doing a front flip, and the mechanics of it does not make sense.
No, it was a natural evolution. So I lived in California for 10 years, and currently Andy Buckworth, his skate park in his backyard, that was my old home. So I grew up with BMX racing, but I never even took my hand off the handlebars. I'd spent 15 years of racing, just going for titles. And I think once I got to about probably 16, I sort of landed like a T-bog. And then I was like, oh, that's pretty exciting. And I had always been so used to BMX racing, where you train and you dedicate all these hours for wins, but you won't see the results for maybe like a whole season. And then I just found this like addiction to freeride and to freestyle, because it was like you could dedicate to learning a trick that day and you've got an instant win. You've got that gratification. Like the time you're putting in, you're seeing that instant reward. So once I sort of started doing a few of the tricks, I'm like, man, this is really like addictive, and I love this journey. started with backflips, started with more of tuck no handers, and then
And was this all on a mountain bike or BMX first? Like where you learned
initially BMX.
BMX, right?
Yeah, and
That's important to say.
it was BMX
Because it's
initially.
easier to learn tricks on a BMX bike than it is on mountain bikes. Certain tricks, I think, right? Wouldn't you agree?
Twitchier and littler.
It's a little bit snappier, it's lighter,
Yeah.
spins a little bit faster.
Yeah.
So you were learning a lot of those on the BMX bike prior to the mountain bikes.
Yeah, so it would have been 2017, 2018. I actually had the goal of wanting to go to the 2020 Olympics for both freestyle BMX and for BMX racing. So
that would have been
I
rad.
started to dabble into freestyle BMX and went to FIS, went to China, got like a top 10 in the world.
Because that was the first year that BMX Olympics were in for the females, right? For park.
Yep. Yeah,
Crazy.
It was. It was
So
just a whole other like.
So there was
doorway.
a lot of like attention, energy to that discipline. You're like, I want to do that.
Yeah, it was an opportunity, and I'm always one to just say yes and lean in, no matter how uncomfortable I am. That's like a bit of my motto. So when those doors opened to FIS, I was like, oh yeah, like let's give it a go. Like I've never competed in park. Like I don't know how to piece a run together, but let's go to China and let's ride a capsule and let's flip boxes and let's just do it. So once I did that, I think that was a really good foundation for me to step into mountain biking and to more of like the FMB route. What happened in those next 2 years was I then went through multiple chest surgeries. I had a sternum off-road vehicle accident. So yeah, it was this real like shake up, which rocked, I guess, myself for like sort of 2 years. And then that goal went out the window. It wasn't physically achievable for my body to do the racing and the freestyle at the same time.
Because of that injury.
Yeah.
Well, can we talk a little bit about that injury? Because it's a savage situation, right? Car accident, New Year's Eve, 2017.
Mm-hmm.
Sternum.
Yeah,
two lungs, collapse, and some.
Yeah, punched and collapsed both my lungs. Like I went under an off-road vehicle, and so it basically like crushed me. So I've got a metal plate and screws and bolts and wires and everything in my chest currently. And as it snapped my sternum, it actually punctured my heart wall. My heart wall bled out into my lungs, and super lucky to be alive. Like I was minutes away from cardiac arrest. Like I don't even know how I breathed to get through that moment. But yeah, the recovery from that took about 2 years, 3 sternum reconstructions to finally get the right plate, bolt and screw setting to bolt my chest back together. And then when I returned to the bike, it was this whole process of like onion layers. You peel back a layer of the onion. It's like trauma. And once I got comfy and the surgeon said, you can't withstand this kind of injury on a bike, that was my green light. I'm like, you can have this injury in a vehicle and you need that weight, but I knew that the bike couldn't hurt me like that. And I think that's all I needed to hear from a surgeon to go, cool, I am all in to my bike career.
Yeah, but I mean, you explained it pretty like chill, but like let's talk about mentally, because I know there's no way it could have been like, there's probably a lot of dark moments in those 2 years of recovery, right? Like, did you ever think you're gonna ride a bike again before the doctors explained the situation? Like, you were in a pretty bad situation. Like, how did you handle that mentally? Because that's not like a broken collarbone. You wear a sling for 6 weeks and you're good to go. Like, that had to take some. I mean, mentally, you're tough because that you went through a lot. So how'd you handle that?
Well, yeah, you can relate. I think it's also hard when people can't see your injury. I think mental injuries are definitely hard. People can't see if you're depressed. They can't see. With my sternum injury, you couldn't see that I was physically injured because I didn't wear a brace. I didn't have a sling. Nothing physically changed on my body, but it was all internal. So I had to wait for my organs to recover. Then I had to wait for my chest to heal back together. And because you can't brace your breathing, and I'd broken ribs off my sternum as well, it was just like a really slow grind process that no one could really see. But for me, it was 2 years of questioning, like who I am as a person. My whole world had been wrapped up. I was that little BMX child star that was 5 years old and was already traveling the world at 9, going to like world championships. I was wanting to live off the sport at 14 years old with a website and merch already. And it was like the hustle started from when I was 14. So my entire life had been bikes. And then when you take that away and you're like, hang on, who am I? Who's Caroline Buchanan? Like, who am I as a person in this time period? So yeah, that was a crazy just identity ride to the bigger picture of sport, and how you can lead from the bench, how I could write kids' books, how I could be influential with my scholarship programs, and just really support the industry that had given me so much. And yeah, and lead from the sidelines why I couldn't be on a bike.
I mean, the fact that you know that you have to kind of like make money outside of cycling is huge. Like, you're a bit of an entrepreneur. Like, were you always kind of like, did you kind of always knew that you wanted to do more than just like in the cycling? Because you have little color books, you said merch, you have like brand deals
Yeah.
with underwears, with, like, how did that come about? Did you just know that you need to do more
I don't
in
think
biking, or
I
because we don't get paid that much?
No, I don't think I knew at the time. My dad was really switched on. So dad said early, he's like, if you want to make a career out of being this BMX bandit, like, you're going to have to work hard. And he understood, because he comes from IT, he understood the value of brand. And this was before social media. So he was in IT, and he actually helped build me little like gifts. And I came out with my first merch through Unit Clothing when I was actually 16 years old. And they had one t-shirt at the time, and social media didn't exist, but there was this like website platform that connected all the BMX clubs in Australia together, and he helped me create a GIF that was advertising my merch on the like banner head through all of Australia. And so yeah, we just started promoting it that way. I'd go to like races and I would start selling my stuff. So already it was like this hustle, and my dad was a big part behind
That's
that,
awesome.
and connecting with mentors, starting
starting
race reports, like just all the things that you do now and everyone talks about. I think it was really like, I didn't know what I was doing at the time, but I think he just sort of influenced me to be like, everything is going to matter. And that helped build the foundation to be able to have brands like HarleyDavidson, Ford, Oakley. You've then got like major companies like Boost Mobile, complete out of industry
That's huge.
support that see value in mountain biking.
So cool that you're bringing that type of attention to the mountain bike space. Like Harley Davidson, how did that come about? That's wild. I didn't know about that deal.
Oh, no, really?
No.
Oh, wow. Well, so Harley came out with a Street 500, which was their first learn illegal bike a few years ago. And I was actually the face that launched it. So I got the front cover of Hog, which is like Harley owner group, the front cover of their magazine. And how that came about was actually, one, I think just like, again, I have this like understanding now from going through the industry and having to be a brand myself, that the numbers and you know how to market and sell. So I'd crunched all the numbers, and whilst I'm a female, it's like my following is 85% male in the exact target age category of a brand like HarleyDavidson. So it just took the confidence to create this like brand pitch and go to them and just be like, hey, like, you would normally get your tatted up bikey football players, like that's who you're currently marketing with and to, but your people that are buying your bikes is actually my direct audience. So it was just changing that shift of perception. And then they were like, you know what, you're 100% right. Like, this is our audience, and we really want to work with you to promote it. So I learned to like get my license to ride it.
It's amazing.
I put a rack on the back of it, and I'd throw my bike on it and go to gym and like California
that's
living.
so badass. I'm not gonna lie, I never rode a Harley and I'm terrified, but
Yeah.
I think you might have just motivated me to try it, because I think I would have a good time.
You would.
Especially living that California lifestyle now.
Yeah. Ride across the Ortega to Oakley and ride the Oakley setup, have my bike on the back.
That's
throw it
awesome.
back, go back to the beach. Like,
So cool. And do
Yeah.
you still ride today? Like, do you still, in fact, because I know you're living in Australia now. Do you have a chopper over there?
no, I
You
don't
don't?
currently. So I sold it when I moved
Okay.
back from America, but definitely love it. And yeah, I think as a female in this world, it's like for anyone really, it's important to have that out of industry support, because at the end of the day, bikes aren't forever. And
Yeah.
one of my biggest motivations was like to be able to create a life for my future family and
Love that.
kids that I want to have. And yeah, to be able to say that I've done that from the sport of mountain biking and just following out my passions, pretty cool.
You're on your way. I
Yeah.
mean, sounds like you got a little bit extra cheddar in your bank account this weekend. What are you gonna do? Are you gonna treat yourself with something?
You're setting me up. Well, I've said for a while I wanted to buy a G-Wagon if I won another title, so we'll see.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Sometimes it's nice to give back to yourself.
It's important. I think it's super important. I mean, you've worked your whole life to become the best female two-wheel athlete to ever do it. Go treat yourself. Like, you put in some hours. Like, don't feel guilty purchasing something like that and then show it off. I hate that people don't show off their accomplishments.
Yeah.
Like Matt Jones has that McLaren and he kind of hides it. He wants to show it, but he's like so terrified that the mountain bike community is going to crush him on it. And I'm like, don't worry about what other people are thinking. Like, cause like if you look at the skate culture and like everybody else, like
they're super flashy.
Look at Nigel.
Yeah.
Nigel's crazy.
Yeah.
And it's cool because it's like, hey, these athletes work so hard. They don't make that much money. And if they're at that level to actually purchase that, let them live. Let them have a good time.
Very true. So yeah.
So get that G-Wagon and you better snap a photo of it and be like, hey, all the hard work I've ever done in mountain biking, this is paying off. It's paying off.
And I hope it's really inspiring to obviously the whole mountain bike generation coming through that they can make a career out of it, because I couldn't see that future when I was growing up. There wasn't BMX races going to Olympics, making careers out of it on cereal boxes in the stores. No. Like, I still pinch myself. I go to the supermarkets back in Australia and a lot of people know me as a grocery girl, not a mountain bike athlete, which is also funny. Quite random. But yeah, you walk down the aisles and I'll like be doing my grocery shopping, and on the back of a cereal box I'll see myself and my unstoppable story, and then they'll be at the checkout and there'll be all the phones and you see like my face all over Boost Mobile, and it's just like, yeah.
And then Oakley's running a bunch of ads.
It's overwhelming for me, obviously, like sometimes.
Every time I go into like a mall and I like walk by any places that has like a sunglass display, your face is on it for sure.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's so good that you work with brands like that give you that type of exposure, because that's huge.
Yeah. It's really good for the sport. The sport is in the best spot that it's ever been.
It is.
And it's just evolving. I can't believe like this morning the girls were able to ride the joyride course, and
I want to talk about that.
Patricia's up there with a Red Bull helmet. She spun the first drop.
No
she
way.
suied the next drop down. Like,
what? Yeah, exactly. What?
Like, you wouldn't even believe it. Like,
no.
Her, if she pieced together a run now.
She basically just did my 2004 Crankworxs.
I was going to say, what year? First run.
I'm just getting lamer and lamer by the year, I think. Fuck.
Yeah, the kids coming through is really inspiring.
Let's talk about the progression, because it's like that's like involving faster than the male slopestyle, I think. Like, the girls are thrown down. The fact that I was talking to Wiper yesterday, Justin, the guy that built the course, and he was like, yeah, the girls are dropping in tomorrow. And I'm like, hold on, they're going to ride the whole course? And he's like, I have no idea. So did that actually happen this morning? Did they actually ride from top to bottom?
Went through to the Boner Log, not from there down. So the top 4 features, was it?
So, okay, so they stopped before the big drop.
Before the cannon.
Before the cannon. So they didn't get to the drop then?
No.
Do you think they can do that?
100%.
Like the drop? Really?
Yeah, we had 4 of us girls last year do the entire Silver Star course. And yeah, I mean, the girls are completely ready to compete on it.
Damn.
I would say there's like 5 girls right now that could take on diamond level gold courses if the opportunity was there, but it's not quite there yet.
Damn. That's crazy. Like, who's the baddie right now? Like, who's throwing down the tech, like, can like compete with like the males?
The men? Well, definitely Patricia.
Yeah, is she on that level?
Yeah, I mean, her run just at the last event, which was in Big White, she did a flip bar.
Whoa.
Or flip double bar. Sorry. Flip double bar. She was 3ing. She was like alley-oop barring. Her level is insane. She can already like triple truck.
That's insane.
Like, we're talking, yeah. So I'd say from a slope perspective, she's definitely leading the charge. We've got the Swatch 9s coming up in 2 weeks in Germany, and I think it's a really good crew that are going to be there. It's a diverse group of everyone from Patricia right through to slope, big bike, free ride.
I mean, I'm going to get a little personal here. You shot me a DM about a month ago and you said, I saw you on Raya.
Oh, God.
And if you don't know what Raya is, it's a dating app. You have to be invited. It's like, I don't know. How do you explain it? It's like, it's for exclusive members. Like, but it's weird because like Chris Rock's on it, like influencer models. Like it's
like
I'm on it. I'm on it.
Brody Jenner and I don't know. I saw Luke Bruni on there like last week.
Really?
Yeah.
It's.
I think it's basically like for like CEOs, or you've got to have an accredited, verified tick
Right.
on social media. Yeah, I'm, I guess, freshly single this year, which has also been a challenge of this 2023 season, was just diving back into like doing a whole tour on my own. And I think it's been the healthiest thing for me just to own it and be like, yeah, you know, I got this.
I love that. Is dating hard in your position? And when I say your position, like as like a badass female athlete that travels all the time, because like when you're on this level, you have to be very selfish, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's all about you. Like when you go on in these relationships, is it hard because like you're always on the road, you're traveling, you're grinding, you're working around the clock all the time. Like is it hard dating for you?
It is really hard, and I think I've just gone to some counseling recently because, you know, I do want a family and I do want to have kids, and that is like a future goal. I think what I'm like learning to understand is it's like our life, a lot of people can't match the intensity. It's normal for me to be traveling around the world and you have like the crazy highs of Crankworxs, and then you're back home for 7 days. I'm going to the snow. I'm getting more training from Red Bull for now my reporting side, and then I'm off to the Swatch Nines to do more worlds first, and then I get back and then I'm doing the field reporting for a supercars event for Boost Mobile. Like it's a very high energy, which is actually like a very masculine energy, which is like one that I'm starting to understand within dynamics of relationships. And I think it is hard being a female in this world when, yeah, you're driven, you get up, you're motivated, you've got it, but it's a very high paced like masculine energy. So yeah, I think hopefully the right person will come into my life when I take that little bit step down from being on the global tour and world stage and taking on such high roles.
How long do you want to keep doing this?
Probably I could see this for the next like 3 to 5 years still being really like heavily part of my life. Jill Kittner, she just smoked it on the weekend and she competed and came back and she won here, and she's 9 years older than me. So
Whoa.
Or you look at Rachel Atherton, who's
had
a baby
I was
and
just
came
about
back.
to mention that.
Greg Minner. So yeah, I mean, if I really wanted to, we could say
You could keep going for
10
a while.
more years. There's e-bike now.
But
I'm
what's
doing
like,
my
but
first
like,
e-bike
but like
national in a
what?
few
But
weeks.
is that still important to you though? Is that because like you already did all that? Is that like, you know what I mean? It's like, okay, you go ahead, win a few Crankworxs titles, but is that really going to fulfill you as a person?
No, not
It's
at all.
not.
No, that's why I'm really enjoying like the other side
Because
of the
like,
fence.
how old are you right now?
I'm 32 right
You're
now.
young. You're young.
Yeah.
You're still young. Yeah.
But yeah,
a couple more years.
Yeah, the higher purpose of like sport, I think, is what I'm really drawn to right now, and that's obviously opening up the doors through my scholarships to girls, bringing them to Crankworxs, helping set up their careers with airbags and whatever it is. So Ignite is really a big passion project for me. And then now, yeah, just the challenge of field reporting, and I'd love to do Rampage. That's like one of my goals, and potentially X Games, and I've already done Nitro World Games, and then Roof Ride in Poland a few weeks ago. It's that side of it is really evolving, and I can still be entrenched in the sport that I love with the people I know, but I don't have to be like sending front flips and injuring myself.
No,
you know?
No. It doesn't sound like you want to slow down anytime soon. It's
Not necessarily.
But you are doing stuff like, yeah, you're doing a lot of commentating now, and is that something that you enjoy doing? Like how did that come about?
It's a real rush. Like you would understand from competing, you're in this individual sport, so success is on you, failure is on you. It's that real performer moment, and that's what it's like in speeding. That's what it's like in speaking. You step into like a stadium, Nitro World Games, it's full. They've got triple flips. Harry Bink's about to do a world first, and and you're in there in that moment, you're feeling all the emotions with them, and you know their story. And I think that really helps just connect with them and do it. Like, I love it. I never thought that I would like step into this role, but I look back at some of the media training I did before Olympics, and I look back at everything that I've done throughout my career, and it's led me to this place.
And you've had a long career. Like, what do you do as far as like staying in shape? Like, you're super into health, huh?
Yeah.
I see you at the gym all the time squatting like a mad man. Like, you squat more than I think a lot of guys can out there. Definitely me.
Yeah. It was in my BMX career. It was definitely, we trained like Olympic weightlifters.
Right.
It was that high power intensity. I don't do as much of that anymore now with the Queen of Crankworxs title. It's more about being able to be mentally fit for like 9 days to do all the events. So just general fitness, sprint training. I go to like, the fun morning sprint classes where it's like fun music, DMB, half hour, you walk out, you want to throw up. I really enjoy that, and it really resonates like straight to the bike. And a lot of hours on the bike as well definitely helps. I do a bit of boxing, bit of MMA. Like, I'd have so much like cross training, and then just the hours you're on the bike with like airbags or downhill slalom speed and style. Like, I'll set flags up at home and practice those cornering drills. I still jump on my hardtail and go to the BMX track and
you're on the go.
Yeah,
you're just on the go all the time.
Yeah, I love it. So like, it doesn't feel like training. It doesn't feel like my job because it's the lifestyle.
Right.
Yeah.
And then what do you do for recovery?
I'm really been into ice baths lately.
Yeah, they're the best, huh?
Just
how often do you
every
ice?
day?
Yeah, for how long?
So 4 minutes is like 4 minutes on basically like 6 degrees. And initially, it was actually why I got into ice baths was I'd already have like an infrared sauna, and I'd had some immune issues like Emil Johansson has talked about before. So I had Epstein-Barr and mono and chronic fatigue and all this, and it rocked me for like probably close to a year. And once I got into infrared saunas and starting to look into my diet a little more, that was when I got back in an ice bath, and I hadn't been in one since I had my chest surgery. And the metal in my chest got really cold, and then it took my breath away, and then I couldn't breathe. And I had almost like this like panic attack reaction. And I just said to myself, I was like, if I can go in an ice bath every day and like desensitize potentially whatever this layer of like your body keeps score, if I can desensitize that, like, this would be really healthy. And I think the ice bath now has done that a lot. And then, just realize the benefits long term of the health and how good you feel, like the euphoric feeling, kickstart your day. I love it.
It's I start off every day with a cold plunge.
Yeah.
I
go to war with yourself.
actually do it before I work out. Do you do it after or before?
I've done both.
Which one do you like better?
I like before in the morning. But if I have like a heavy ride or like something like that, or I've just had a crash or something, well then obviously I'll do it again in the ice bath.
I jump in that thing first thing in the morning, and I have a hot coffee waiting for me when I get out.
Yeah,
slam
the reward.
Slam the coffee, and then I go straight to Gold's Gym.
Great.
And then I'll bang out like an hour and a half, and then come home. And then sometimes I do it right after a gym as well. I'll do 2 sessions a day. Mm-hmm. They say you only need like 12 minutes a week to get all the benefits.
Yeah, so it's like 3, even if you did 3 mornings, that'd be enough. But
have you Andrew Huberman? You should listen to his podcast. He talks very heavily about cold plunges, saunas. He's a neuroscientist, and he just explains all the benefits with all this. And I'm like a huge believer, and I practice with a lot of stuff that he preaches, and you should do it.
I'll look into it.
It helps a lot.
Yeah. No, you've got to be like, in this world, you've got to be so healthy. And you just feel so much better for it.
I'm still on the fucking journey.
Yeah.
I just got back from Mexico getting stem cells. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because I'm still I'm still recovering, still trying to find.
Yeah. I saw you riding around Crankworxs all week.
Yeah. You know what? I actually just pedaled up to A-Line.
No way.
I didn't have a pass, and I didn't want to like wait in line because it looked like it was like an hour away. I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna pedal up this fire road, and hopefully I don't get yelled at. It was perfect. I just pedaled up all the way to A-Line and just dropped in and did a little line.
How cool is
Hit
that?
all the jumps. I'm like, that's all I needed. That's all I needed.
E-bikes.
Peace.
That's incredible.
But yeah,
Very inspiring, your story.
thank you. Still learning, still figuring it out. Like I said, I just got back from Mexico from stem cells. That was crazy. Have you ever looked into like getting stem cells?
No.
Yeah, there's a lot of benefits from it.
I was like, fortunately enough, like I got through my surgeries and recovered. But yeah, for obviously, I feel like it's,
But not
especially
even
yourself with your injury.
But do you have like any old injuries that are like hurting you?
More so concussions, and I think that's a scary one with action sport athletes now. Is it's the unknown. I was only talking to Robin Gooms the other week, and we've both got these things called a floater, which is where a piece in the back of your eye breaks off, and then you see the reflection of it. So yeah, she got this after a head hit at Proving Grounds last year, and then I actually had a crash. I under-rotated a backflip in speed and style at Crankworxs last year, and I got a really big whiplash, and I lost all the feeling down my back sort of straight away, and I got a CT scan, and that was a pretty bad head hit, and I actually haven't done a backflip since that day. And yeah, I was driving like a few days later, and I had this like little black spot, and it just like floats around. And yeah, I went and got checked, and it's what they call as a floater. There's nothing you can do about it. And yeah, my peripheral vision has also been impacted over the years of head hits. It's like under here is actually like decreased. So it's wild from that side. Like so many athletes just don't talk about the head side of it. And I think that's the injuries.
Well, I tell everybody 2 things you never want to damage in the human body is the brain and the spinal cord, because those 2 things never heal. And if they do, they don't heal
the same.
Fully or the same.
No.
Yeah, that's a scary situation. I'm stoked that you're aware of that, because I don't want to name any athletes, but in our little space, but I can already see some CTE symptoms of some athletes coming in.
Yeah.
Concussions, no way. Like, it's not worth it.
It's a part of the sport, which I'm glad now that there is doctors that are out there, and especially like Ewan, and we come into Crankworxs now. We actually have concussion baseline testing.
Love that.
And if you get a head hit and they see it and you don't pass that testing, you're not allowed back out. And I think that's a good spot for the sport.
For sure, absolutely. Have you ever seen the movie Concussion with Will Smith?
Yeah.
Oh, that's heavy, huh?
It is. It is.
That's a heavy one. My kids are never going to be playing football, I'll tell you that.
Or riding bikes.
Riding bikes.
Fortunately now,
I mean, like Mikey Day. Did you see what Mikey Day did with his kid?
No.
He's like, Mikey Day has a little one, and straight to golf.
Perfect.
And the little kid rips. I'm like, Mikey, you're smart. I know exactly what you're doing.
Yeah.
I'm going to put you on the spot. Top 5 best female two-wheel athletes to ever do it. I don't care if it's BMX, mountain bikes. It could be half and half, moto. Yeah,
Ooh.
Throw the moto in there. I like that.
So I'm going to go definitely Vicky Golden. Pioneered in racing, now in obviously whip and freestyle for moto. If anyone doesn't know her, look her up. Big inspiration to me and just badass. I mean, I have to put myself in that category because it's part of my why.
Do it.
And
don't feel weird saying your name.
We all should know our why, and one of that for me, and it brings, me back every time you go through a hurdle in life, or, when you're just trying to keep this intensity on the world stage. It is like, I want to be one of the most decorated, respected action sport athletes in my generation. And part of my why is it's like, I live out my passions for myself, but for the world. And it's like, comes back to that purpose. So yeah, I've got to put myself in that category because I work super hard.
Well
I would
deserved.
say, yeah, someone obviously like Casey Brown, she really led the charge for girls in mountain biking and still is. Oh, I'd say on the BMX front, it was Mariana Pajon, multiple Olympic champion and just gorgeous human in general. And she was always she's basically the queen of Colombia and just so well respected. And I love that. Like, I love athletes that they're the modern day superheroes. And if you can be a good human at the same time, she was always just an angel to compete against her. So yeah, we'll go Mariana. We'll put Casey in the mix.
Who's your top 5? Last one.
Myself. You got
one more.
One more. I'd probably go someone who was actually like a real role model to me, and it's a completely different sport. It was track velodrome cycling, and another multiple Olympic gold medalist, Anna Mears from Australia. She started in BMX, she went into track velodrome, and she was a mentor of mine too, so throw her hat in the ring.
There you go. Top 5, Caroline Buchanan. Top 5 best female two-wheel athletes to ever do it. Anything else you want to say? You want to mention anything? You want to give the sponsees some shout outs? What do you want?
Ooh, I can't even think of anything. What's coming up? I got like a little emotional this week because I won the Spirit of Crankworxs award, which was such a... I just wasn't expecting it. I was about to go up for the overall Queen of Crankworxs title, and they did like a spiel, and they're like, the person that embodies what Crankworxs is all about, and I won the Spirit Award. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, so that was pretty neat. What's coming up the rest of this year? Bunch of talking events. We've obviously spoke about the Swatch 9s. I'm going to be launching my kids book, Caroline Buchanan, little play on words. It'll actually be on sale as of like next week. So
awesome.
That got launched here, and pretty good fun. The kids can actually design my race bike for next year. So Trek's going to paint that.
So cool. And then you're going to be riding that all next year?
Yeah, I'm going to race the bikes that the kids that they design.
That's awesome. That's a great idea.
Yeah, super powerful. Love it. They're all motivated. Cool. Had some wild designs come through already.
That's awesome. Okay, so then what are you going to do when you're not busy? Like, what are you going to do off season? You going to have some Caroline time?
Oh, definitely. I'm actually trying to figure out some next steps in business and starting a company, which is completely outside of the mountain bike industry. So can't talk too much about that, but that's motivating me from like a brand perspective and understanding marketing, and I'm just ready to dive in, and buying a house at the end of this year as well. So a bit of just life, bit of life admin, and
come down to LA, come hang. Come down. You miss California, I know you do.
I do. I did love California for 10 years.
Come down this winter, we'll go ride, we'll go cold plunge, we'll hang. Caroline, thank you for coming on the podcast. Congrats on defending your title. I know that was not an easy task. And I got a little present for you.
Oh, thank you.
I got the champ a little gift.
Who else have we got coming on today?
Emil, right after.
Oh, nice. We have got some bath salts. Yeah, well needed.
Relax, little candle.
I love that. Have some TLC tonight. Pack up 4 bikes and head back to Australia.
And then got you a little necklace.
Oh, I was like, there's something else in there.
Little necklace, and it's with the Whistler Mountains engraved because so nice. You crushed it. Like this place does you really well. So I'm like, I'm gonna get her something that.
This place has a lot of good memories. This is actually where I first started mountain biking ever.
You and I both.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Was doing a BMX World Championships in Victoria over on the island, and came across actually with Jackson Frew, who's a young Canberra kid.
Yep.
So I would have been 14, and he would have been maybe 10. And came across and was like, what's this place? What's A-Line?
Right.
Fell in love, and I bought my A-Line t-shirt. And here we are years later racing for the Queen of Crankworxs title.
So awesome.
Bombing downhill down A-Line in the mud racing.
So wild. So cool.
Yeah, I had a real pinch me moment. Yeah.
Well, you're still crushing it here, and I'm sure in the next few years you're going to continue defending this title. And Caroline, thank you for everything that you've done for the sport. I really appreciate you coming on the podcast, and let's stay in touch and come down this winter for a little session on the cold plunge, and we'll go ride some bikes.
Perfect. I love it. Thanks for having me on.
All right, guys. Caroline Buchanan on the Rise and Ride podcast. Until next time.